Alright, hello there, YouTube. Now, just the other day, I made a video detailing about how, about Pokemon and stuff like that, and I was making a huge rattle. Now, I'm making a video that is maybe a bit different in topic because I'm not specifically going on video game topics. I'm just speaking on general world activity, like what's going on worldwide, that sort of stuff, right? Let's play some dang Mario Kart World, man. Everything is working in their favor. Let me just say it like that. I don't know if this is gonna be a bit too noisy. I don't know. Alright. Hold on a second. Alright. Alright, so for the past 9 years, I would say, right? Since 2016, this world has been terribly weird, right? Seriously weird. Since 2016. So I personally would say it all started in 2012 with this whole Mayan calendar thing. We even had a movie by the name 2012. It was like referencing it's supposed to be based on the end of the world and stuff like that, right? I think they had it was that tourist attraction site, that main volcano. I'm not gonna call it because we've got some advanced AI scoring the internet these days, and you barely say a word or anything, that's specifically. Yeah. So that park. Let me just say it. That volcanic park right in the center of America. We've had some activity in the movie, basically. Usually, most of the time when they tell you something, you're only halfway. is very misleading and all for a reason, right? Let's see, let's find some random. This is a nice track. So, 2012, we were told that the Mayan calendar ended. It's supposed to be the end of the world. Some people were readying themselves for the end of the world, blah blah. Then the next 4 years after that, every 4 years something happened. The 4 years after that, 2016, we had sudden strange laws in place, and all of a sudden we also had like immense UFO activity, all these flying objects. We had a few planets and stuff that oddly just, I think people were saying it's Mars. There was this like visible planet. I live all the way in the Caribbean, this island called Barbados, and we could have seen this red planet from the coastline. Or let me focus on gaming here. That's a part of the video as well, right? let me just multitask here. So things were weird since. What's happening is just like our human body and everything else, just like the body goes through changes, this verse that we live on, this realm per se, that's the more universal word, right? This realm that we live on is going through a lot of changes, not only on the physical, on the spiritual as well. The spiritual is the bed of energy that generates this life we call a world, right? Spirit energy. So spirit, you have a charge. Everything is supposed to have a spark, right? For the past, I would say, then after 2016, things started to bait down. People got comfortable again. 2017, 2018, and every 4 years, like I said, everyone remembers 2020, saying that was the year of the pandemic. But believe it or not, the pandemic started in 2019. The so-called pandemic was a damn. Just like how you have, oh, damn man, that's harsh. Just like how you have farmers and they would have cows in the fields and stuff like that. All of a sudden we got this system called the Thomas system, Thomas number. Everyone was given a Thomas number, like the word team. like tagging us like damn cows. And around that same time was this supposed pandemic, a virus per se, they said. And really and truly, if it really is a virus, huh? Why is it that not everyone is affected by it? Because some people literally, I had not one symptom, and I had no symptoms, none, no problem, right? Not only that, they had to come up with, oh, there's this variant, and the next, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth. Like, the amount of variants they had to come up with is crazy, right? So what it really is, the sun, or our sun, right? It's called soul. That's the universal name for it. And what do you call our spirit? In our, we call it a soul, right? SOUL, right? So our soul up there shining in the sky, it is fluctuating because it generates spirit energy into physical, and that's what our trees use. The light that comes from the sun is the closest to the spirit realm, right? It is the food for our trees because the tree, our lungs branch out the same way, right? The tree is the definitive physical representation of universal branching. Rivers branch out. I tell people this a lot. I try to get this message around. Is like everything in the universe is a reflection of itself onto the physical, right? So rivers branch out, our veins branch out, trees branch out, nerves branch out, blood vessels branch out, right? Everything works the same way. Even our roads, when you look at them from above, they look like damn like nerve and vein vessels going across the field. So these, not only that, right? Everything, including the animal kingdom, is reflected in our reality, right? You have different types of animals, you have different types of ants. Ants make colonies and they live in them. And these ant colonies are situated in different parts of the land, right? Like one might be a few miles from the next, third and fourth. This land that we live on, this earth, this is not the only earth. And it's been defined in scripts. They kept this knowledge to themselves. But I'm basically detailing this information. Then I'm going to get to what's happening with this Atlus Trial and everything else. You are going to be shocked. And I'm also making this video because I want to see what's going to happen. I want to see if, certain heads of state or whoever they're going to jump on this. And I really want to see. Because people are uploading stuff and everyone's talking on the internet. But I don't think there are much people who are detailing things. Oh, God, that was timing, man. I don't think there are much people who are detailing things that I'm ready to right now. So, let's go. Alright, so we have this soul or sun shining light, is photonic energy onto our earth, right? Then our atmosphere, believe it or not, without our atmosphere, it wouldn't be much, it wouldn't actually cause for life as we know it. Basically, the light from the sun, from soul, is uniquely split into different forms of energy by our atmosphere, right? And every layer of our atmosphere, just like our skin has layers, our eyes have layers, the ocean has layers to it, our atmosphere has layers, right? Now, those layers, each layer uniquely affects how the energy is distributed to the earth, right? And certain parts of the earth have higher levels of this energy, other parts of the earth have higher levels of another energy, and yada yada and so forth, right? So we have gamma radiation, we have our ionosphere is where most of that activity occurs, right? We get lightning, we get, electricity, just like our brain is supposed to work by electricity. Now, this is where things get technical, right? We have a species, we're called humans, and we have so many scriptures, too many scriptures speaking of our species in detail, and we are never called human in those books. We are called man. Now, this particular landmass that we live on, man was edited and used for work. We were made manageable. That is the word man and age. It aged us. So we were kicked out of the Garden of Eden who's to say there weren't other gardens? There weren't other there parts in that book I call the Book of Chronicles, right? That basically says we are not the only. We were made in His image. In whose image? Huh? What other images are there? No, we have been hidden. We were fearfully and wonderfully made, they said, you know, whatever our scientist is, whatever his name is, if it's even a him. Because I've been looking at that in a different way, you know, like cleanliness is next to godliness, some of the words and stuff, maybe as a female image, and they've smartly hidden themselves in plain sight by giving the idea that the source of life, is it the flower or is it the seed that comes first, huh? The flower, right? You create the animal, then the animal creates eggs, a female. So maybe it was, anyway, we were said to be created in the Creator's image. So when you add 2 and 2 and use a damn common sense, there are other images too. It can't be the only image, right? Right? So we live on this earth, and we are encouraged to think that we're the only things that exist, or we start thinking about that we're crazy, or we're some conspiracy theorist or something. So all these years we've been on this planet, and we've been the perfect word to use here is conditioned into just like how you have an ant's nest. You might have one of those fancy ant's nests with the ants in there, and the only thing that they know is that little world that they live in, right? That little ant's nest that you could go and buy one literally in a box and get the case to put the ants in and watch them build their world and stuff and feed them and stuff like that and watch them. Who's to say this world isn't the same? So recently, because of certain changes that are going to take place on this planet is going to go from 4th into 5th. People are saying it's going to go from 3rd into 5th, or 5th dimension. It's going to be higher than that. And altogether, other races are terrified. When I say terrified, I mean terrified. The reason? We are one of the most lethal and dangerous creatures, like species, in this vicinity of space. Don't ask how we know. Don't get into detail, but that's basically it. So we're dangerous. We're supposed to be sinful, fallen, lost. A lot of us even congregate with the fallen. You hear about it, all of these agencies and like stuff like that. I could easily hold. I'm supposed to be. I grew up on Nintendo. I'm a professional Nintendo player. I could easily hold the gas like right after 2 and get like boosted and stuff, but I'm not focusing on that. You can still see I'm getting my first place positions anyway, right? But back to what I was speaking of, right? We're not the only things that exist, and even that Book of Chronicle references shapeshifters. They are not only shapeshifters, they trespass. They're not supposed to be here for whatever reason. They came from whatever other bunch or group, or let's call it an ants nest, and they reside on this earth. Some of them might look like us, but they're nothing like us, right? And they, just like how we have hundreds of chickens that every single day they're like killed for our food, harvesting. The age and time of harvest, I'm in second to that, I'm in 4th place, and focus a bit, right? And we're only encouraged to think that we're the only thing that exists, nothing else exists, because that's how they keep themselves hidden, right? You know, in plain sight. We have all these animals, we have monkeys, we have everything else, and still we, as humanoids, we're the only thing that exists. It makes no sense. It never made any sense. We're not given proper footage, or we're not allowed to see outside of our sky area or dome. Most of the images that we have and stuff like that and data in the public is fake, right? So who's to say that, or faked or edited, I should say, just like how they edited us, messed with our gene? And I'm not talking about recently with the vaccines either. I mean generally in like over 400, 300 years ago, or maybe more than that, when this ant's nest was being situated, you know, like straight out the box, being put together, right? After being hijacked by whatever illegal um, whatever illegal fallen angel forces took over this particular vicinity of the earth. They're not supposed to, but they did. Yeah, I was looking back just now. Just making sure no one is behind me. Yeah. So in the race, so they basically took this species, humans, and made them, for advantage. We've got all these industries, we make computers, all we're so advanced and intelligent and stuff like that. This damn place is a freaking farm, like literally a damn farm. And 2016 happened, and then like I told you right after that, 2020 was the lockdown, so 2012 was the supposed end, that's the beginning of the end. And we have our days split into 24 hours, right? So we have 24 hours. We have supposedly 12 months, right? And half of 24 is 12. And it started in 2012. So 2012, then 2016, they arrived, and people were encouraged to think, oh, it's just some nothing. The UFOs aren't real. You're crazy. Anything they're telling people, anything they see on television, is definitely fake. You've been brainwashed into doubting that anything at all is happening, right? So 2020 was the initial, like they were just making sure, like we can hurt these humans, we can hurt these people, it's working. We get them into the houses, or stay in your household, all this damaging ionosphere, like radiation, oh gosh, like cancer, this and that, excuses. Cancer isn't even what people think. Cancer is a side effect of what they did to the human genetic sequence, right? We were supposed to develop certain, natural physical manifest our abilities, strength and stuff, and whoever has that, what I call the X gene in real life, I'm not afraid to say, damn X-Men, because a lot of things are actually like smart references to real things that they put in television just so people will stop thinking about them and stay as ignorant as possible as their way of doing things. Let me get around here. Yeah. Where are you going? Alright. So they edited our gene for that, for one reason, control. They tried to get rid of the X gene by causing it to cause a form of sickness. Dang, sickness what? They just damaged our genetics. And last minute, they're going ahead and fixing this. Even like a week ago or so, they had headlines, recent literal articles. You can go and check for yourself. They're saying that they're making cancer vaccines now. Last minute, so what they do is they give us, just like they've given us half truths, they give us half fixes. So people would have abilities in maybe the next few decades and stuff like that, and what the movies and stuff that they created were like early peeks into the future smartly, while the world is brainwashed into doubting that these things are even real. They were giving us the truth, and that truth is that we are and always were very powerful beings created from the image, like the Book of Chronicles says, of whatever deity, right? I would say Zeus, if it was a male. Lightning, electricity, everything here works from current. All forms of life not only need water, all forms of life, even the smallest single centimeter, generates electricity, no or not, or lives by it. So they found a way to damage that for their own management, right? Management. And in 2012 was the end of the old world, or the old calendar, right? 2016 was their arrival, them docking to our station, this line. 2020 was them then like when you go to your farm, you're doing some agriculture, and you go and pick up your berries and stuff. That is the harvesting, or maybe not the harvest. My God, I am going too fast. That was them, registering, because then we had the Thomas number and stuff around that time too, or like a year or so before it was fully, yeah, all over Caribbean, everywhere else. And 2020 and 2024, which was last year, was the beginning of the harvest. We had weird instances, people disappearing, people are killed all the time on this planet, right? It's normal to kill people when you're like a sinful, evil, freaking race, like teaming up with demons and stuff like that. All these witches we hear of and all of this shit. Our Earth is dying overpopulated, like heavily overpopulated. Imagine you have a garden, right? And you're supposed to harvest, let's say, 3,000 acres. And in those 3,000 acres, you have a certain amount of berries, a certain amount of plants, a certain amount of food. And for somehow, every plant is risking its own death right now. Like, if a plant gets too heavy, it can't bear its fruit or its berries or whatever. It weighs it down to the ground. It could even break and die, right? In this case, we have so many people on this planet right now that the food industries even are becoming pressured. Not just the economy. It is not just people not being able to afford food easily and buy and stuff like before. It's also the food industry is no more able to feed people accurately or efficiently. You understand what I'm saying here? So it's like you have a bucket or something that's like way too full and it's overflowing. You can't have it overflowing forever, right? It's going to basically, topple over or something. I know I'm laughing there. I know why I laugh there, right? Because it's seriously exactly what's going on. Not because, I'm laughing at it. But basically, altogether, we have too many people on the planet. And they come here every time this happens, or it is estimated to happen, right? As an excuse to lower that number safely, efficiently. That is the 2024 mark. And we are past the hour of midnight. Now it's dawn. Now it's morning. And I'm not talking about whatever project, whatever fucking shit I'm gonna get cross now. Right? no kiddie friendly videos, I'm sorry. Right? I'm not talking about that. Now it's morning time. Right? It's new world order. All Earth has passed away. Alright, so I was speaking about the solar earlier in this video, the sun, and detailing how the sun, and I will hold this until so they can get back some coins. Yeah. Ah dang, there's a bone. Holy shit. Right, alright. Didn't hit me, sweet. Focusing a bit, so sorry. But I'm just so quiet with me. So we have our solar is very important to us, our sun. It's our atmosphere splits its light like how a magnifying glass does. It's only as warm for us here because of our atmosphere. So what they did, they uniquely, I would say, not edited, but they in a sense did something to our atmosphere, and they did something to our dimension as well, that the light does not split the same way. We don't get the same energy the sun is supposed to give off, nothing of the sort. And lightning was always a natural instance on this planet. We get a few, lightning sparks here and there. It is never happening. It stops almost entirely. Most of the lightning that we see on the earth now, people are like, where are you getting this information from? Just use your common sense. Use your common sense and watch, just observe. Not only common sense, the knowledge is dear for us to. You just gotta be able to read. Like, there's some people who could look at books and can't read words. that is sadly, in a sense, how most of the earth is these days. Like people are they're too accustomed to getting all their information from news channels and articles, and they don't. A lot of people don't know how to, I would say, observe and investigate for themselves, right? How to take basic information and like translate it into stuff for themselves, right? Our atmosphere, our sun, whenever you on a bright, lovely evening time and the sun is setting, the sun usually gives off a certain form of like there's something called luminosity, right? That's the amount of light that you get from the sun. The luminosity is supposed to be a certain amount, right? And the angle that the sun is at and stuff, and we have a one shadow. No, this is something that I'm so freaking. I find this very odd, and maybe why a lot of people are acting so odd on this earth is because maybe they're not even people consciously anymore. I know how I mean, right? They're not consciously themselves how they were before the 2016 event. Everyone is, the correct word is disturbed. Like everyone has been like if you get an animal and you scare it enough, I mean before it dies, because they think a lot of them with the small hearts and stuff, those small animals like chickens and stuff, you scare them enough to just get a heart attack and die. But a more advanced animal, if you terrify it enough, especially for enough years, enough generations, it stops living. I'm gonna explain to you how I mean. It stops doing things, like it stops trying then. So it's just there. Whatever happens, happens. It goes through whatever system, and you know, like say we go and we, oh damn, I can stop that. I can stop that just now, huh? It goes through whatever system and it just obeys. It just does. It no more is too afraid to, you know, challenge or try. That's what's happening to people. So everyone just goes nowhere what the crowd is talking about, and they don't actually check for themselves. Or every evening, I'm not sure how many other parts of the earth this happens, right? We get a sunset or something. Our shadows split into 2 or 3. We get 3 shadows, not 1. I remember growing up, obviously I'm earthing, or whatever you call it, terran, or whatever it is, right? Terran, that's an actual something, believe it or not. That's why they use the term terraform when talking about, you know, adapting planets and stuff for life. But I'm born here, and I basically, I still have my memories, right? I'm in the shower, like I'm going to bathe or something, and light is coming through the window, you know, your hand gives off a shadow, and it's this tick, just one shadow, normal. Shadows are supposed to be dark and thick, and you know, like you just see your shadow of your hand or whatever. But no, when you look at the shadow, it splits into 2 or 3, and it stays that way. Even this thing that I'm using right here, this screen that you're looking at that my thought world is playing on, it works by splitting light, right? And light then is split through the screen in a unique way that you can have these separations of colors and stuff like that, pixels, yada yada. So I find that very freaking interesting in any natural world, right? Even if they put a veil over our earth that separates the spirit energy from the sun, and they're feeding on it or whatever the hell they're doing, right? Our shadows shouldn't be splitting into 3 and stuff like that unless the light itself is being split also. Now this is the most important part. Now why would they want to split light? Right? Why don't we have lightning anymore that's natural? Everything that we see, almost everything in the sky, the rain stopped. We had a lot of years where we literally had no rain, around the same 2018, 2019. And this earth just went to a standstill, right? I would never forget that line in Avengers Infinity War where Tony Stark told whatever that sidekick to Thanos is something Squidward, Earth is closed. Earth literally is closed off. That was a smart reference. I was laughing at that for years. but not laughing for evil manner, like laughing. It was just like, oh my god, these people are something serious, man. So when you put a veil over something, the light isn't, just going one direction anymore. It's split off. They could feed on. You get light and you put it through a prism. Everyone knows about this, but no, right? It's something that was like trendy all over, right? You get basically every color on the light spectrum focused. You get to see them separately. You get to see them like, all the true colors of light. And if they do that to our planet, they could easily tap in to each, because like I said before, the light coming from the sun, the energy coming from the soul, or soul is not only physical, it is spiritual. Everything is what feeds the trees. So if they split that energy, the trees no more get that full energy. If the sun is no upgrading or going on a higher vibration or a higher energy, and these creatures that have taken our planet for hundreds of years already do not want us to evolve with that energy, they're going to try to block it off. That's what they did. And they've done that for hundreds of years. But they're doing it even more so now. They're these entities that they've created, these 5G, 4G, that is their way of scrambling the natural energies. They don't want people, like, everything has a double use, right? You eat food just to eat food to survive, or you eat food to enjoy yourself as well. They create something not only for, fast informational access and all the internet and stuff. I'm gonna say the internet. And we saw a lot of people, accent. It's not only for that reason, it's more like they're making it as a means of interruption of the natural signal that we creatures on this planet work by. So they hack into that and they totally intersect it. Look at it this way, right? This, I don't think I have it. Yeah, it's in airplane mode right now, right? I don't have it online. I usually keep my devices in airplane, like, not for any, like, all this I'm talking about, not for any like paranoid reasons. It's more like I keep it in airplane mode to save battery. I keep it in airplane mode for performance, because it takes a lot of memory in the background, stuff you wouldn't believe, other reasons, right? But basically these things work off of a smart form of electromagnetic bandwidth, and our body uses the same energies, the very same, especially our brains. We give off aura, they call it, right? This energy field around our body that radiates whenever we, especially if we are happy, it changes color, believe it or not. It gives off energy based on our energy, spirit into physical. The sun does the same thing, right? So they're tapping into our sun. Now they have a lot of things built around there. I've seen ships, don't ask how. But we should have ways to look at these things, like scan above the skies and see things for ourselves. But that's why our planet does not have that much in the public vicinities for everybody to use. No, they keep these things to themselves because they don't want people to know about life up there. They don't want people to know how harsh reality actually is, and they kept this earth sheltered, but for their own selfish reasons, right? Now that the change or the shift, so per se to call, is so rapid and sudden, they no last minute wanna fix people, they say. There's no dang fix. Everything they give us a half fix, like I told you, and they tap into water else for themselves. So they split the light. They found a way to tap into the sun radio, I call it, right? The energy from the direct energy from that. Come on. Whoa. These races are so damn chaotic. Like, my current races were always like 12 vehicles, now it's like 24 vehicles. This is intense. We've got to get double the amount. It was 10 coins. I'm gonna add this back to the conversation as the topic as well. Now it's 20 coins. Everything is all doubled up, and they're readying themselves for that. This evil species, this evil, fallen, sinful race, they're terrified. Like, suppose everyone was supposed to wake up one morning, and all of a sudden, everyone has powers. Like, you know how much thousands upon thousands of people who are right now living on an overpopulated earth. Everyone is barely surviving for a piece of money to, go and buy some stuff to eat and stuff like that. You have powers, you're going to go to the nearest supermarket and you're going to try to raid that thing, huh? Exactly. It's going to be decimation around the dang place. So they found a way to split that energy. They're tapping into it, they're hacking it, stuff like that. They're trying to jump ahead of the quarter per se. Stay in control. Stay managed. This species should be, they're saying. They are terrified. You think it's people, normal people on this planet who are damn terrified? It's the governments. It's these people who, they know the truth. They kept the truth to themselves. These people are freaking terrified because we're going into, it's like, a caterpillar spins a cocoon, and then it goes into that stage where it becomes a butterfly. We're changing into butterflies soon from now. I don't care who calls me crazy. I don't care about those details. I just get the knowledge out there. That's it. And when you look at every major religious scripture or text between all these religions, all is the same thing, just told from a different perspective, right? All same story, right? All of them eventually reach this point of what they call mutation. That T word, because it's been weaponized in recent years, and it's like anytime you speak about it, people think you're instantly speaking about those people. I'm not going to say it in offense because people can do what they want, but the mutation, the change, the major word for it is the word that you use when a butterfly changes from caterpillar to cocoon to butterfly. Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis. And what is the name of the company, right, that operates the biggest, and when I say biggest, I mean the biggest social networks right now? Meta. Facebook, Instagram, and recently Threads. You know what the logo for Threads looks like? A freaking placenta. So freaking weird. When you look at it, you can't see it and then unsee it. I'm sorry, I'm telling you, that's exactly what it's based on. Because recently, they're looking to attempt to create hybrids. Even this system that I'm using, this is the Switch 2 that I'm playing on, right? They had the Switch 1. What did they call the Nintendo Switch? S and WITCH, Witch. They called it a hybrid. We can play it in handheld, and then we can take it, put it in the dock, and play it on the television like I'm doing now, right? Now, a hybrid is something that is one thing and another at the same. They're trying to make this species into a hybrid species. We recently had some vaccines. They're last minute trying to give us the ability, and they're trying to get us to go on their side. Imagine you had a school, right? And little kids were like bullied, picked on, and they realized that kid that they were bullying, last minute they realized, wait, that is your dad? Some hyper billionaire, important, powerful man, and stuff like that. Oh my god, we've got to befriend this little dude. We've got to befriend this guy. This species is very important to whomever. And they were told, if you mess, we will eradicate you without, they were told, they were given, I would say, like a rich parent would do and say, look, don't mess with my child like you were messing around. Because basically, you're putting yourself in trouble you don't even understand. Right? The people or the entities that had this world for hundreds of years. So last minute they're fixing us. And was it fixing? Huh? Fix my foot. Huh? Fix what? So they're doing a few last minute, like 50%, yada yada. And they're terrified of the changes that are literally occurring. As way some people don't get tired anymore as much, or the ones who do get tired of going through these changes, they're really tired, they're going to sleep, and it's like they literally their bodies feel like they haven't slept in days still. There's all the metamorphosis going on, right? And that's the 2024 mark, so this is the first race. I was definitely doing this, seeing how far I can go before I come second or something. And there we are, a dying second place. So I'm gonna play something else. These games are really harsh now, man. Like, yeah, that's a lot of races I did though. I made it to like 120, and I'm making this video at the same time. So it's really bad, people. It's really bad. Then let's get to the Trey Atlas talk. So we're told that Trey Atlas is a comet. Of course, they're gonna tell us it's something simple. You know, they're gonna find some lie to tell us, right? Or something to say to keep us comfortable. That's the main word they love. The comfort is most important. Even the advertisements, everything they do on this planet, keep you as comfortable and ignorant as possible. Just buy your food, do your work, and go home back to your cubicles. Age and die, multiply, repeat. So the Trey Atlas recently, they said that it's behaving erratically, oddly, it's giving off some weird signs, and they're gonna just launch a defense system out into space for this thing, right? And whatever else on Earth, defense system above and below, land above as above, so below, everything is coming into fruition. They had this scene, I would say, planned out for hundreds of years. Imagine they had this thing planned. So they're gonna trick us into thinking that that is the coming end, that they're here, stuff and that, all this stuff that we heard even in the books. Who's to say that is a trick? Who's to say that this isn't actually happening? These things aren't coming here, and they're going to try to get us to think that they're fake and put us to kill them. You know, that these things are dangerous. These things are that they're saving us from them, when we really is truly should be running from them, from these on this planet here with us, and we don't even know it. Who's to say, huh? All right, we quit. That was it's only because of the line shortcut system. That one track is a problem though. I don't think some of these tracks were made properly, optimized properly. A lot of these games are rushed. They just use AI as much as possible. Now I'm not saying no art at all is in these things, but yeah, that one particular track, something was telling me to leave that one out, but I still tried it. I'm gonna play something else. What else do I have here that is digital? And I wasn't going to do this, but this is Monster Hunter Rise. Yeah. So we have been told a very serious lie, and lightning and everything is like they've taken control of the earth. Then they learn to tap into the light spectrum. They even use that word anytime you say a light. It's like you're speaking about those people again, so that you wouldn't realize what is happening. Not those people, the actual sun, the light from the sun, they're tapping into that. They basically hacked our matrix then. They hacked our world. And they tapped into our energies, the earth's energies. They could like generate lightning as they please. And what's happening in Jamaica, right? I would even call Jamaica the Black America per se. So for years, every TV show and every movie and every news channel that you watch, all you're hearing about is Jamaica, this, Jamaica that. Stranger Things, when that army general was in their room looking for 11, looking for Jane, right? Whatever her name is, they had a poster up in that one of those kids' room that had Jamaica something on it. Street Fighter 6, most recent reference, Jamaica. You go to Jamaica as well. Persona 3 Reload that came out on Nintendo Switch 2 just recently, in the freaking like those drink machines. They're drinks that specifically are detailed in the game to be shipped from Jamaica. Why all this talk about Jamaica? And then all of a sudden, right, aiming directly at Jamaica, we've got this weird storm forming that's moving at snail pace. And I'm going to give you some details that a lot of people I know for sure are not speaking about. This storm, right? They found through satellite imagery that wherever lightning is flashing, we get cloud activity, like instant cloud formations, like just from the lightning itself. Like before you have clouds forming on their own and then lightning will form. No, the lightning is just striking in that one spot. It's like they're using technology to energize. You know, they're saying Star Trek energize. They're just energizing the air in that area and forming these things. Who's to say this isn't aliens doing it? I doubt it's man doing it. I doubt it's man. They weaken the population first and then they move in. A day later, they're saying that today, 3i Atlas is going to show up in Earth's atmosphere, sky, visible from behind the sun, and that this is going to be one of the biggest days in history for science because what they were seeing is so freaking odd and stuff like that. So a storm is hitting Jamaica as I speak, as I make this video. 3i Atlas also is coming here. Some damn alien shit. It makes sense. There is the harvest, you people. So keep yourself safe. Lock your doors. Make sure you know where your children are. Ours INCARTUM. Inertia INCARTUM. I never said this in a video. I've always been posting this. Inertia INCARNATUM. Year 20XX. Not saying which year. New World Order. Shamar. Freundel Yearwood. Shamar Freundel Yearwood. Is ULTIMATUM. This has been Mr. Pokemon 907. Thank you for watching. Keep yourselves safe, people.